Romain, thanks for having us at Zenith. We understand that Defy will be a major focus for the year to come. Can you tell us about the novelties that you are presenting as the year begins?
The Defy collection is the most contemporary collection we have in our global lineup. This is a strategical collection. This means the future of our vision of the watchmaking business for Zenith. And indeed, we have a major launch inside the different launches that we are doing here at LVMH Watch Week, which will be the introduction of Defy Skyline, a brand new line inside the global lineup. Defy Skyline is the quintessential Defy model that we have created so far. It's, I would say, embody all the different aspects of the collection, but also of the DNA of the brand and the DNA of Defy specifically. Every single watches are created to be reliable, accurate, precise, and robust. And everything is all about this for the Defy Skyline. This is exactly the spirit also of the Defy collection since we have introduced the Defy name in 1902, so more than a century ago.
So, before we move to this new Defy Skyline, there is a Revival piece that you're introducing. Can you tell us about it?
The Revival products are at the center of our attention since 2019 specifically, when we introduced the Revival line inside the Chronomaster collection for the celebration around the 50th anniversary of the Primero. And we wanted to go a bit further with this, with Revival, because we have an endless patrimony, more than 150 years of history. The idea is now to, I would say, include and implement in the different other lines revivals. Here, a new Defy model for the first time here at LVMH Watch Week with the introduction of the A3642 Revival, which is a model from 1969, same year as the El Primero. This is the very first octagonal shape model back in the days. It was nicknamed the safe of precision at that time. It means that it's robust. This is at the center also of the attention of the creation of Defy back in 1902, as I said, when it was only about pocket watches. But then we reintroduced the Defy collection with a Y in 1969 with this octagonal shape. And we are recreating here the very first model from 1969, which is the one that I have here in my hand, and the recreation here, which is a limited edition of 250 units. Same recipe that we did with the product in Chronomaster collection. We did some laser measurement of the case, so it's an exact recreation of the watch with the same proportion. We twisted the watch with different elements that are different from the model from 1969. Of course, it's a sapphire crystal. It's still 300 meters water resistance with screw-in crown. We have adapted the gradient dial compared to the one that you had on the product in 1969. It's another movement in it. The 1969 model was a 2552 or 62 automatic, and here we have implemented inside the watch the elite models that we have in our current lineup, which is a 4 Hertz movement with, of course, an open case back, which was not the case at the beginning in 1969. This is the Defy Revival A3642, which is an ode, a tribute to the very first model of the Defy collection back in 1969. It is a steel model, 37 millimeter of diameter. The watch will retail at 6,900 Swiss francs, and it's a limited edition of 250 units. The watch is an octagonal shape with a gradient dial and the elite movement inside with an open case back, and of course the recreation of the steel ladder bracelet, which was equipping the original watches.
Moving now to the big novelties, that is the Defy Skyline. The model features some of the typical code of the category, that of the luxury sport watch with an integrated bracelet, but has its own characteristic and features. Can you tell us how it's an evolution of the Defy design?
Yeah, as I said, it's the quintessential Defy, 3 hands. This was the idea behind when we did the development of this watch, inspired by our legacy, inspired by our patrimony and the watches that I just introduced, the 3642. So it's, I would say, a direct descendant of this watch. This watch represents also the latest evolution in terms of design that we have first introduced last year with the Extreme. On the Defy Extreme, we have introduced the 12-sided bezeled also on this watch. So it was the very first touch of the refresh or the added value to the Defy collection introduced last year that we want now to make, I would say, cascade throughout the collection, also in the Skyline, but also in the future model to come. The Skyline is a very architectural model, sleek, contemporary, elegant, very well-sized, unisex, very up-to-date for the taste and the different wrists from nowadays. The watch directly take inspiration from the angular and edgy case of the 3642, so it's a more octagonal shape, a more edgy shape than we used to have in the Defy Classic collection until then. The watch is, as I said, equipped with an El Primero movement for the first time, so we are swapping from the Elite movement to the El Primero movement for the first time. We are indicating something never done before in the industry, which is the tenths of a second. So you have a small counter directly indicating you the tenths of a second. This is one of the DNA or elements that make us different from the competitors when you look at our chronograph, of course, but now also with the 3 hands. So we also recreate and reworked the bracelet with this fully interchangeable strap system that you can use and that you can really play with. Of course, opening case back to see the latest evolution of the El Primero movement, the 3620 movement platform, which is the same more or less platform as we have in the chronograph, the Chronomaster Sport or the Chronomaster original that you are wearing, indicating the tenths of a second, directly taking the energy and the indication of the tenths of a second on the escapement. That's something really special from ourselves. The watch is intended to be very robust in terms of shape, of course, aesthetic, but also in terms of construction. It's a screw-in crown. We have this new specific dial pattern, which is a starry sky pattern. The watch is a 41 millimeter steel product. It's also a difference compared to the existing and former, I would say, Defy Classic, which was a titanium 41 millimeter case. But we kept the size, we reworked the case, more angular, we reworked specifically the bezel to really be very close to the original Defy from 1969. And we have upgraded the movement, upgraded the case, the interchangeable strap system, and of course also the dial, the hands, and the indices. So the watch comes in 3 different variations: silver dial, blue dial, but also black dial. The watch is delivered on metal bracelets, and you can swap from a metal to a rubber. The rubber is also completely new. It's also bearing the pattern of the Starry Sky. It's equipped with the buckle. Everything is included in the package, so you get one watch with 2 different faces. So the Skyline collection will be introduced right after LVMH Watch Week in February. So the retail price will be in Swiss francs 8,400 for high frequency movements indicating the tenths of a second, which means the counter here is a tenth of a second indication counter. It's not at all anymore a 60-second counter. It's an indication of the high beat. What's really resonate as an element distinctive from the Zenith DNA, which is to be high frequency movements indicating the tenths. This is also very important because it's in the idea of being robust. The Defy collection has intent to be robust, and you know, one theory in the watchmaking business is that the high, I would say the faster you go in terms of frequency, the more robust you are, and this is exactly what we also intend to do with this watch, to upgrade the watch from an Elite movement 4 Hz to an El Primero movement 5 Hz, and to indicate the tenths and to go high frequency.
Romain, can you also tell us a few words about the other models that you're presenting for this LVMH Watch Week, and say a few words about the future of the Defy collection?
Yeah, with pleasure. We are also introducing some other models, iconics in our other lines, which is the Defy Midnight, dedicated for women. we are going to introduce two new dials bearing or reproducing different sky available in the nature, and the Aurora Borealis. So we are going to introduce two specific models, non-limited, playing with colors, very colorful in terms of gradient and dial, and also with the straps available with it. In the same vein and in the same spirit, we are going to introduce one novelties in the Defy Primero 21 collection, which is the 100th of a second chronograph. We are going to introduce a full white matte ceramic model with playing with colors the way we're doing it at Zenith, which is creating movement in colors, playing with frequencies, with the high frequencies of the mechanical frequencies, but also the visible frequencies, what your eyes can perceive. And for the first time, we have recreated what we call rainbow without playing with stones, with gemstones and diamonds or sapphire, but recreating the rainbow inside the movement to highlight our mechanism, and for the first time to introduce different components or elements of the movement in different colors. So that's going to be the Defy 21 Chroma. The future is bright for the Defy collection. As I said, it's a strategical collection for us. We're going to continue to highlight it and to not refresh, but to give more added value to the Defy collection and to work on the future revival, but also three hands, also complication. We're going to introduce some novelties in the haute horlogerie segment, as you will see in Watch and Wonders. This is the focus of LVMH Watch Week, the Defy collection, but there's a lot more to come during the year 2022. It's going to be a lot about Chronomaster at Watches and Wonders end of March, and then there's some others models very interesting for the end of the year. We're talking about the Pilot collection, which we haven't worked for a while, and we will introduce some very interesting novelties and more modern novelties in the Pilot collection at the end of the year. And then in 2023, it's going to be another major year in Defy and in Chronomaster, as you will see, and you can expect some good stuff from us as it is since the last 3 or 4 years, I would say.